Right now, while you're watching this, someone is lost in the woods. They went camping yesterday. Their family thinks they're having fun, but they're not. They're running. Running from something that shouldn't exist. Something that was waiting for them in the dark. What if I told you that could be you next weekend? Listen. I'm about to tell you 5 real stories. Not fake. Not made up. Real things that happened to real people. People who went camping and found something terrible waiting for them. After you hear these stories, you might never go camping again. You might never even walk in the woods again. Let's start. But first, turn on your lights. Trust me, you'll want them on. Story 1. The Thing That Knew His Name. I need to tell you about Mark Thompson. Mark was not new to camping. This is important. He had been camping for 20 years. 20 years. He knew everything about the woods. He knew what sounds were normal. He knew what sounds were not normal. He knew when to be scared and when not to be scared. That's why this story is so scary, because Mark knew the woods, and the woods still got him. It was July 2019. Mark wanted to go camping alone in Colorado, in the Rocky Mountains. His wife didn't like when he went alone. She would always say, "Take someone with you. It's not safe alone." But Mark would laugh. He would say, "I've been doing this for 20 years. Nothing bad has ever happened. Nothing bad will happen." He was wrong. Very, very wrong. Mark drove 5 hours to get to his favorite place. Then he walked 8 miles into the forest. 8 miles from any road. 8 miles from any help. He wanted to be alone. He wanted quiet. He wanted peace. He got alone. But he didn't get quiet. And he definitely didn't get peace. The place Mark picked was beautiful. There was a small river with clear water. You could see fish swimming. There were big trees all around. Birds were singing. The air smelled clean and fresh. Mark had been to this exact spot maybe 15 times before. He loved it here. He put up his tent on flat ground near the water. Not too close, because that's dangerous, but close enough to hear the nice sound of water moving. His tent was small, just big enough for one person. Blue and gray. Nothing special. He'd had the same tent for 5 years. Mark got wood for a fire. He caught a fish from the river. A nice big fish. He cooked it over the fire and ate it while watching the sun go down. The sky turned orange, then red, then purple, then black. Stars came out. First a few, then hundreds, then thousands. You can't see stars like that in the city, only in places like this. Places far from lights and people. The forest started making its night sounds. These sounds don't scare people who know the woods. Owls calling to each other. Small animals moving in the bushes. Bugs making their bug sounds. Wind moving through leaves. These are good sounds. Normal sounds. Safe sounds. Mark sat by his fire until about 10 o'clock. Then he put water on the fire to make it stop. Safety first, always. He got in his tent, read a book with his flashlight for maybe 30 minutes, then went to sleep. He fell asleep fast. He always did when camping. Something about the fresh air and the quiet. But at exactly midnight, Mark woke up. Not slow waking up like in the morning. Fast waking up, like when you hear a loud noise. His eyes opened wide. His heart was beating fast, but he didn't know why. Then he noticed it. The forest was silent. Completely silent. This is bad. Very bad. Mark knew this. When all the animals stop making sounds, it means something dangerous is near. Usually a bear, or a mountain lion. Something that kills things. All the little animals go quiet and hide. Mark sat up in his tent. He listened hard. Nothing. No sound at all. Even the wind had stopped. It was like the whole world was holding its breath. Waiting. watching. Then he heard it. Crack. A big branch breaking. Not a little branch that falls from a tree. A big branch. Breaking under something heavy. About 50 feet from his tent. Mark grabbed his flashlight but didn't turn it on. Not yet. He waited. Crack. Crack. Closer now. Maybe 30 feet. And Mark could tell something important. Whatever was walking out there was walking on 2 legs. Not 4 legs like a bear. 2 legs. Step, step, stop. Step, step, stop. Like a person. But not like a person. The steps were too heavy. Too slow. The footsteps came closer. 20 feet. 10 feet. Then they stopped right outside Mark's tent. Right outside. Mark could hear breathing. Big, deep breathing. But the breathing was coming from high up. 7 feet, maybe 8 feet high. Whatever was standing outside was huge. Mark held his breath. He didn't move. He didn't make any sound. Maybe it would go away. Maybe it was just curious. Maybe. The thing started walking around his tent. Slow. So slow. It would take a step. Stop. Take another step. Stop. Like it was looking at the tent from all sides, studying it, learning about it. It walked around the tent 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. On the 4th time, it stopped at the front of the tent, where the zipper door was. Mark could see its shadow on the tent wall. The moon was bright enough to show the shadow. And the shadow was wrong. All wrong. It had a head, but the head was too long, too narrow. It had arms, but the arms went down too far, past where knees should be. It had legs, but they bent in weird places. And it was tall. So tall. Then the thing did something that made Mark's blood turn cold. It spoke. It said Mark's name. Mark. But the voice was wrong. Too deep. Too slow. Like something that had just learned how to make words but didn't really understand them. Like an animal trying to talk. How did it know his name? How? Then Mark remembered. His name was on his tent, on a little tag near the zipper. Mark Thompson. This thing could read. It could read. Mark! It said again. Come, out. Mark, come. See me. Mark couldn't move. His whole body was frozen with fear. This wasn't possible. This wasn't real. But it was happening. The thing touched the tent. 1 long finger. Mark could see the shadow of the finger. Ran down the side of the tent. Slow. Gentle. Like petting a dog. Then it laughed. But the laugh was horrible. Wet. Choking. Like someone laughing underwater. Soon, Mark, it said. Very soon, I come back for you. Then it walked away. Mark could hear its footsteps getting farther away. But the forest stayed silent. No animals made sounds for the rest of the night. They were all still hiding. Mark sat in his tent all night. He held his flashlight in one hand and his knife in the other hand. He didn't sleep. He didn't move. He just waited for the sun to come up. When morning finally came, Mark packed his things faster than ever before. He left half his stuff behind. He just wanted to leave. He ran most of the 8 miles back to his car. He didn't stop. He didn't rest. He just ran. When he got to his car, another man was there. An old man getting ready to walk the same trail. The old man looked at Mark's face and asked, "Son, are you okay? You look like you saw a ghost." Mark told him everything. He expected the old man to laugh, to say he was crazy. But the old man's face went white. Very white. "You saw it," the old man said. "The tall thing. My grandfather told me about it. The Native Americans who lived here hundreds of years ago, they had stories about it. They called it the Night Walker. It's not human. Never was human. But it's smart. And it's learning. Learning what? Mark asked. Learning about us. Every person it meets, it learns more. Learns our words, learns our ways, learns how we think. My grandfather said it takes people sometimes. Not often. Maybe one person every few years. But first it watches them, learns their name, learns about them. Why? Mark asked. What does it want? The old man shook his head. Nobody knows, but the people it takes are never found. Never. They just disappear. And son, if it knows your name, if it said soon to you, then you need to be careful. Very careful. Mark went home. He never went camping alone again. Never. But that's not the end of the story. Because 3 months later, Mark heard something outside his house. Footsteps in his yard. Heavy footsteps. And then, at his bedroom window, he heard that horrible wet laugh. And that deep, wrong voice said, "Now, Mark. Now is soon." Mark called the police. They found nothing. No footprints. No evidence. Nothing. But Mark knows it was real. And he knows it's still out there. Waiting. Learning. Getting better at being human. And sometimes, when it's very quiet at night, Mark thinks he can hear it. Far away, but getting closer. Step, step, stop. Step, step, stop. Coming for him. Because it said soon, and for things that live for hundreds of years, soon could be tomorrow, or next week, or next year. But it will come. Mark knows it will come. And when it does, Mark will disappear, just like all the others. And no one will ever find him. Story 2, the camp that wasn't supposed to be there. Now let me tell you about 4 friends from college: Sarah, Emma, Jake, and Tom. They were all 23 years old. They had been friends since freshman year. Every year they went camping together. It was their thing, their tradition. In March 2021, they picked Oregon for their camping trip. Oregon has beautiful forests, big trees, soft green moss on everything. It looks like a fairy tale forest, like something from a movie. But sometimes fairy tales are scary, very scary. They drove 6 hours to get to the forest. They parked their car and started walking. The plan was easy. Walk 5 miles, find a nice place to camp, stay for 3 nights, have fun, catch up, enjoy nature. The walk started great. The trail was pretty. Not too hard, not too easy, just right. The trees were huge. Some were so big that all 4 friends holding hands couldn't reach around them. Everything was covered in soft green moss. It was like nature's carpet. And there was mist in the air. Not thick mist, just enough to make everything look magical. They were talking and laughing. Taking pictures, making jokes, having a great time. After walking for about 4 miles, Jake saw something through the trees. "Hey, look at that," he said. "Is that a building?" They all looked. Through the trees, maybe 100 feet away, they could see structures. Man-made structures. As they got closer, they saw it was a campground. But not a normal campground. This one was old. Really old. There were wooden shelters with roofs but no walls. There were picnic tables made of thick wood. There were fire pits made of stones in circles. There was even an old bathroom building made of concrete blocks. But everything was falling apart. The wood was gray and rotting. Plants were growing through cracks. Metal signs were so rusty you couldn't read them. "This is weird," Sarah said. "This isn't on our map." They checked their phones. They had downloaded maps before the trip. No campground was shown here. They checked their paper map. Nothing. According to all their maps, this was just forest. "Maybe it's new?" Tom said, but Emma shook her head. "Look at it. This place is old. Like really old. Nobody has used this place in years. Maybe decades." They walked around the campground. It was big, really big. Maybe 20 or 30 camping spots, each with a table and fire pit. In the center was a bigger building that might have been where a park ranger stayed, but the roof had holes in it. The door was gone. Trees were growing inside it. "It's getting late," Tom said. He was right. The sun would go down in about 2 hours. "We could camp here. The ground is already flat. The fire pits are already built." Sarah felt something in her stomach. A bad feeling. Like when you know something is wrong but you don't know what. But she didn't say anything. Her friends seemed excited about finding this place. And it was getting late. They picked a spot near the middle of the campground. They put up their 2 tents. Emma and Sarah in one tent. Jake and Tom in the other tent. They tried to make a fire, but something was weird. The wood wouldn't burn. Even with fire starter. Even with dry paper. The fire would start for a second. Then die. Like the air was too heavy, too wet, too wrong. As the sun went down, the mist got thicker. Much thicker. It came from the forest like something alive. Like it was surrounding them on purpose. Soon they couldn't see more than 20 feet in any direction. The campground disappeared in the white mist. They were alone in a small circle they could see, surrounded by white nothing. And it got cold. Really fast. They went from wearing t-shirts to needing all their warm clothes. Every jacket, every sweater, everything. "This is weird weather," Jake said. But they all knew it was more than weird. It was wrong. That's when they heard the first bell. Dong, a big bell. Like a church bell. Somewhere in the mist, dong another bell. From a different direction. Dong, dong, dong more bells. All around them. Different sizes. Different sounds. All ringing together but not in rhythm. It was like horrible music. Like a song that was broken. "What is that?" Emma whispered. Nobody answered because nobody knew. The bells kept ringing for maybe 5 minutes. Then they stopped. All at once, like someone turned them off. The silence after the bells was worse than the ringing. It was too quiet. Even their breathing seemed too loud. Then the humming started. It was quiet at first. So quiet they thought they were imagining it. Human voices. Lots of them. All humming the same note. The same long, low note. And it was getting louder. Getting closer. Jake grabbed his flashlight and pointed it into the mist. The light couldn't go far in the thick mist. But it went far enough to see them. People. Dozens of people. Standing in the mist. Not moving. Just standing there. Men, women, children, all in old clothes. Clothes from the 1960s, maybe. All staring at the campground. All humming that same horrible note. "We need to leave," Sarah said. "Right now." But when they turned to run, there were people in that direction too. They were surrounded. Completely surrounded by these still humming people. Tom tried to be brave. He walked toward one of them. An old woman in a dress with flowers on it. "Hello?" he said. "Can you help us?" "We're lost." The woman didn't answer. Didn't move. Didn't even blink. Just kept humming and staring with empty eyes. "Dead eyes, guys," Emma said. Her voice was shaking. "Look at their feet." They looked down and saw something impossible. The people weren't standing on the ground. They were floating. Just an inch or two up. Their feet hanging down like they were being held up by invisible strings. The humming got louder. And the people started to move. Not walking. Floating. Sliding through the air toward them. All of them. Dozens of them. Coming closer. Their faces never changed. Their eyes never blinked. "They just came closer and closer. The shelter," Jake yelled. "Get in the shelter." They ran to one of the old wooden shelters. The walls were gone, but the roof was still there. They huddled together in the middle, holding each other, scared out of their minds. The floating people surrounded the shelter. They made a perfect circle around it. The humming stopped. Then they all spoke at once. All of them. Same words, same time. Same dead voice. "Join us. Stay here. Be with us. Forever and ever. Join us. Stay here. Be with us. Forever and ever." Over and over they said it. For hours. The 4 friends held each other and cried. They prayed. They waited for morning or death, whichever came first. Then, just as the sky started to get light, the floating people stopped talking. They turned around, all at the same time, and floated back into the forest. In a minute, they were gone. The mist lifted. Birds started singing. Everything was normal again. The friends ran. They left their tents. Left their bags. Left everything. They ran all 5 miles back to their car without stopping. When they got to the parking lot, they found a forest ranger. "Please help us," Sarah said, crying. "There's something wrong in the forest. An old campground. Floating people. Please." The ranger's face went very serious. "You found it." "The 1987 campground." "What?" Jake asked. "March 1987. 43 people went camping. A church group. Families with kids. They never came back. We searched for 2 weeks. Found the campground but no people. No bodies, nothing, just their stuff. We saw them, Emma said. The people. They were floating. They wanted us to join them, the ranger nodded slowly. Others have seen them too. But here's the really weird part. That campground doesn't exist. I mean, it does when people find it. But when we go looking for it, it's not there. We've searched that area 100 times. There's no campground. It only appears sometimes. What happened to those people? Tom asked. The ranger shook his head. We don't know, but I think they found something in those woods. Or something found them. Something old. Something that doesn't follow our rules. And now they're stuck, not dead, not alive. Just there, forever, looking for others to join them. The 4 friends never went camping again. But that's not the end, because Sarah still sees them sometimes, the floating people. On foggy days, she sees them outside her window, in parking lots, in her yard, still floating, still staring, still asking her to join them. And each time she sees them, they look more real, more solid, like they're getting stronger, like they're finding a way into our world. She's scared that one day she'll wake up and she won't be in her bed. She'll be in that campground, floating with the others, asking other campers to join them, forever and ever, because that's what the carved words in the shelter said. Words she didn't tell her friends about. Words that said, they got us. Day 3. Now we're like them. Run before day 3. They had been planning to stay 3 nights. If they had stayed one more night, would they be floating too? Would they be in the mist, asking others to join them? Sarah thinks about this every day. And every foggy day when she sees those dead faces in the mist, she knows the answer is yes. Story 3. The Hand That Grabbed Him. David was 32 years old. His brother Marcus was 28. They used to be close when they were kids, really close. But life happened. David got married, got a job as a lawyer, worked all the time. Marcus became a photographer, traveled everywhere. They barely saw each other anymore. So in July 2020, they decided to go camping together. Just the 2 of them. Like when they were kids, their dad used to take them camping in the Appalachian Mountains. They knew a special spot. Not on any trail. Their dad had found it years ago. It was their secret place. The hike to the spot was hard, up and down hills, through thick trees, over rocks. But they knew the way. After 3 hours of hiking, they found it. Their dad's camping spot. It looked exactly the same as when they were kids. A flat area surrounded by trees. A stream nearby with clear water. Perfect. They set up their tent. Just one tent. They wanted to be like kids again, talking all night in the same tent. They caught fish in the stream. They made a fire. They talked about old times. About their dad who had died 2 years ago. About being kids. About getting old. It was nice. Really nice. But then the storm came. It started with a few drops of rain, then more, then a lot more. Within minutes it was pouring. Not just regular rain. Heavy, heavy rain. Like the sky broke open. Lightning flashed every few seconds. Thunder shook the ground. They got in their tent fast. They were already soaked. Water was everywhere, but they were laughing about it. Making jokes about their bad luck. Playing cards while the storm raged outside. Around 11 at night, Marcus needed to pee. Just go right outside the tent, David said. You're already wet anyway, Marcus laughed. He put on his jacket and went outside. David heard him unzip the tent. Heard him step out. Heard him peeing. Then nothing. Just rain. David waited. 1 minute. 2 minutes. 5 minutes. Marcus? He called. You okay? No answer. David put on his jacket and went outside. The rain hit him hard, cold, heavy. He could barely see anything. But his flashlight found Marcus. He was standing about 15 feet from the tent. Just standing there. Not moving. Marcus, what are you doing? Come back! Marcus didn't move. Didn't turn. Nothing. David ran over to him. Marcus was completely still. His eyes were wide open, staring at nothing. His mouth was moving like he was trying to talk, but no sound came out. Marcus, what's wrong? Talk to me. Finally, Marcus whispered something. David had to lean close to hear it over the rain. She's holding my hand. David looked down at Marcus's hand. His right hand was stretched out like he was holding someone's hand. But there was nobody there. Just empty air and rain. Marcus, there's nobody there. Let go. Come back to the tent. I can't, Marcus said. His voice was shaking. Scared. Really scared. She won't let go. She's pulling me. Then David saw it. Marcus's arm started moving, like something invisible was pulling it. Marcus tried to resist. His feet slid in the mud. But whatever had him was strong. Really strong. Help me, Marcus screamed. David, help me. She's pulling me away. David grabbed Marcus around the waist and pulled. It was like playing tug of war with something he couldn't see. He could feel the force pulling his brother. Strong, steady, not giving up. Then David heard it. Over the rain and thunder, he heard giggling. A little girl giggling, high and sweet and completely wrong for this situation. The giggling was coming from the empty space where Marcus's hand was. Let him go. David yelled at the air. Let go of my brother. The giggling got louder. Marcus screamed in pain. David could see his brother's hand turning purple. Something was squeezing it hard. Really hard. There were marks appearing on Marcus's wrist. Finger marks, small finger marks. Like a child's hand, David didn't think. He just acted. He took his flashlight and swung it hard at the empty space where the invisible child should be. The flashlight hit something solid. Something that shouldn't have been there. A scream erupted. Not a normal scream. Not a child's scream. Something else. Like 100 voices screaming at once. Like something from hell. Marcus's hand was suddenly free. Both brothers fell backward into the mud. They scrambled back to the tent. Inside, David could see Marcus's hand in the light. It was bad. Deep purple bruises in the shape of small fingers. The skin was ice cold. And it smelled. It smelled like old water. Like something that had been dead in water for a long time. They sat in the tent all night. Back to back. Watching both sides. Waiting. The rain stopped around 3 a.m, but they didn't go outside until the sun was fully up. When they finally left the tent, they saw something that made them pack up and leave immediately. Footprints in the mud. Small footprints, a child's footprints. But there was something wrong with them. Very wrong. First, there were only left footprints. No right footprints, like the child was hopping on one foot, or like the child only had one foot that could touch the ground. Second, the footprints went in circles around their tent, hundreds of circles. All night something had been circling their tent. And third, there were handprints too. Small handprints in the mud, but some of the handprints were in impossible places. On tree trunks 8 feet up, on rocks that were vertical, like the child could crawl on anything, like gravity didn't matter to it. They left fast, almost running. At the parking area, they met an old park ranger. When he saw Marcus's bruised hand, he sighed. "The invisible child got you," he said. "It wasn't a question. You know about it?" David asked. The ranger nodded. 1985. School bus crashed in a storm. Went off the mountain road. 12 kids died. We found 11 bodies. Never found the 12th. A 7-year-old girl named Amy Lawson. A ghost? Marcus asked. The ranger shook his head. No, something worse. Something changed her. Maybe it was how she died. Maybe it was something in these mountains. But she's not a ghost. She's something else now. Something that collects people. Collects? David asked. 3 hikers have gone missing here in 10 years. Always during storms. Always the same story from anyone who escapes. An invisible child trying to pull them into the forest. We think she keeps them. We think she's not alone anymore. Marcus looked at his purple hand. She wanted me to come with her. Yes, the ranger said. And she'll try again. They always do. Once they pick someone, they don't give up. You need to stay away from forests. Stay away from storms. Stay away from places where the boundary is thin. Boundary? David asked. Between our world and wherever she is now, it's thin in some places. During storms, it gets thinner. That's when she can reach through. That's when she can grab people and pull them to her side. Marcus never went camping again. He moved to the desert, somewhere with no trees. No rain, no storms. But sometimes, when it does rain, even in the desert, he feels those small fingers on his wrist again. Cold, strong, pulling. And sometimes, late at night, he hears giggling outside his window. And a small voice saying, "Come play with me. I'm so lonely, so cold. Come play forever." He knows she's still looking for him, still waiting. And he knows that one day, maybe when he's old and weak, she'll find the right time, the right storm, the right thin place. And this time, he won't be strong enough to resist. This time she'll pull him through to wherever she is, and he'll become another invisible thing in the forest, helping her collect more people, forever and ever. Story 4. the people who watched them. Rebecca and Anna were perfect together. Everyone said so. They had been together for 5 years. They did everything together. Hiking, camping, traveling. They were planning to get married next year. For their anniversary in September 2022, they decided to do something special. 5 days camping in Yosemite. Just them and nature. They were not beginners. They had all the right stuff. GPS devices, emergency beacons, bear spray, whistles, first aid, everything. They picked a popular trail but planned to camp away from other people. They wanted to be alone. They wanted it to be romantic. The first 3 days were perfect. The weather was beautiful. Clear blue sky, warm during the day, cool at night. They saw deer. They saw eagles. They swam in a lake. They made love under the stars. It was everything they wanted. On the 3rd night, they found an amazing spot to camp. Next to a small lake, the water was so still it was like a mirror. You could see the mountains reflected perfectly. It was the most beautiful place either of them had ever seen. After setting up camp, Anna started taking photos. She was a professional photographer. She had expensive cameras. This place was like heaven for her. The sun was setting. Everything was golden. She took hundreds of photos. Later, in their tent, Anna was looking at the photos on her camera screen. Suddenly, she stopped. "Becca, look at this." In one photo in the background among the trees was a face, a man's face, just watching them. "It's probably just another hiker," Rebecca said, but she felt worried. The face wasn't on any trail. It was deep in the trees where nobody should be. Anna zoomed in on the photo. The man looked about 40 years old. Thin face, dark eyes, and he was just standing there, not moving, not hiking, just watching. Anna checked her other photos. The man was in 4 more photos. Different positions, but always watching them. In one photo, he was much closer, maybe only 100 feet away. "This is creepy," Anna said. They decided to move their tent farther from the trees, closer to the water. They made a bigger fire than usual. They didn't say it, but they were both scared. At midnight, Rebecca woke up. The fire was almost dead, just red coals glowing. Anna was asleep next to her. Everything seemed quiet. Then she heard footsteps, slow, careful, walking around their camp. She woke Anna quietly. They listened. The footsteps continued, around and around their tent, never coming closer, never going away, just circling. Anna carefully opened a small window in the tent and looked out. In the moonlight, she could see him, the same man from the photos, walking slowly around their camp, about 30 feet away, but he wasn't looking where he was walking. He was staring at their tent, never blinking, never looking away. Then Anna saw the others. There were more people, 5 or 6 of them, standing at different spots around their camp, all watching, all perfectly still except for the one man walking in circles. "What do they want?" Anna whispered. Rebecca grabbed the bear spray and her knife. "I don't know." She unzipped the tent and shouted, "We see you. We've called the rangers. They're coming, go away." The walking stopped. For a moment, everything was silent. Then all of the people started walking. All of them. At the same time, the same speed, in a perfect circle around the camp. Like robots, like they were all controlled by the same brain. Around and around they walked. No one spoke. No one made any sound except footsteps. It was like watching a ritual, like they were doing some kind of ceremony. But for what? Why? This went on for an hour, a full hour of silent circling. Then they stopped. All at once, one of them, a woman with long gray hair, spoke. "Not ready yet. Next year." Then they walked away. Not in different directions like normal people. They walked in a single line into the forest and disappeared. Rebecca and Anna didn't sleep the rest of the night. In the morning, they started packing to leave. But as they packed, they found something horrible. Photos. Polaroid photos. Old-style instant photos. They were placed around their tent. Photos of them, sleeping, eating, hiking, kissing. Some photos were from this trip, but others were older, from other camping trips, different places, different years. And in every photo, if you looked carefully, you could see faces in the background. The same people who had circled their tent. They had been watching Rebecca and Anna for years. The newest photo was from that night. It showed them both asleep in their tent, taken from above, like someone had been standing over them. On the back was written, "Almost ready." They ran to their car. They drove straight to the police. But what could the police do? No crime had been committed. The police said it was probably just weird hikers, maybe a cult or something. Stay away from them. But Rebecca and Anna knew it was more than that. These people had been following them for years. Watching them, waiting for something, they stopped camping, stopped hiking, moved to a city apartment with security and cameras. But it didn't matter. They kept finding photos under their door, in their mail, on their car, photos of them at work, at the store, in restaurants, sleeping in their bed, always with those faces in the background, always watching. Last month they found a new photo. It showed them in their bed. On the back, ready now, time to collect. They're trying to disappear. New names, new city, new everything. But they know it won't work. How do you hide from people who have been watching you your whole life? People who are patient enough to wait years? And last night, Rebecca woke up and saw faces at their bedroom window, 10 stories up, just faces pressed against the glass, watching, smiling. The watching is over. The collecting is about to begin, and Rebecca and Anna don't know what that means, but they're about to find out. Because this morning they woke up and found all their doors unlocked. They had locked them. They had checked 3 times, but they were all open, and on their kitchen table was a photo. It showed 2 empty spaces in a group photo, like 2 people had been erased. On the back, "Your places are ready. Tonight, tonight." After years of watching, tonight is when it happens. Whatever it is. Rebecca and Anna are sitting in their apartment right now, waiting, holding each other, crying. Because they know that when the sun goes down, those people will come for them. And this time, they won't just watch. This time they'll take them, to wherever they take people, to whatever they do with them, to become whatever those watchers really are. And the worst part? Rebecca and Anna know that tomorrow they'll probably be out there too, watching someone else, waiting years to collect them, because that's what the watchers do. They watch, they wait, they collect, and then the collected become collectors. It's a cycle that never ends. And tonight, Rebecca and Anna become part of it. Story 5. The empty tent that wasn't empty. The last story I'm going to tell you is about James Wilson. James was 45 years old. He had been camping alone for 20 years. He wasn't scared of anything. Not bears, not mountain lions, not the dark. Nothing scared James. He thought he had seen everything the wilderness could show him. He was wrong. So very wrong. October 2023, just last year, James decided to hike part of the Pacific Crest Trail. A remote part, a hard part. Most people don't hike there. That's what James wanted, to be completely alone. No people, no noise, just him and nature. He planned to be gone for a week. He told his wife he'd call her when he got back to his car. She didn't like him going alone, but she was used to it. James always went alone. He always came back fine. The first 3 days were perfect. The weather was cool and clear. Perfect for hiking. The trail was empty. James didn't see a single person. Just how he liked it. On the 3rd day, he reached his favorite camping spot, a flat area near a stream. Mountains all around. Beautiful. James had camped in this exact spot maybe 10 times before. He knew every rock, every tree. It was like his second home. He set up his orange tent in the same place he always did. Found wood for a fire. Cooked some rice and beans. Watched the sun set behind the mountains. After dinner, James needed to get water from the stream. He needed to filter it for drinking tomorrow. The stream was close. Maybe 200 yards away. He could still see his orange tent through the trees. He walked to the stream, filled his water bottles, used his filter to clean the water, took some photos of the sunset on the water. It took maybe 15 minutes, 20 at most. When he walked back, something was wrong. His tent was zipped closed, completely closed. James never did that. Never. He always left it open when he stepped away. Always. It was one of his rules. Let the tent air out. James stopped walking. He stood there looking at his closed tent. Someone had been in his camp. Someone had zipped his tent. But who? There was nobody for miles. "Hello?" he called. "Is someone there?" No answer. James walked closer to his tent. It looked normal. Orange tent, his stuff inside. But then he noticed something. The tent was moving. Not from wind. There was no wind. The tent was moving like like something inside was breathing, the walls going in and out, like lungs. James walked up to the tent. He could hear it now. Breathing. Slow, heavy breathing, coming from inside his tent. But that was impossible. The tent was too small to hide in. He would see anyone inside. He grabbed the zipper and pulled it open fast. The tent was empty. His sleeping bag was there. His backpack was there. Everything normal, except there was an impression on his sleeping bag, the shape of a person lying down, and the impression was warm, really warm, like someone had just been lying there. And the smell. Oh, the smell. It was like a hospital, like sick people, like medicine and sweat and something rotting, something dying. James backed away from the tent. He stood there trying to understand. Then he saw the footprints. Bare footprints in the dirt around his tent, going in circles, dozens of circles, maybe hundreds. But the footprints were wrong. The feet were too long, too thin. The toes were spread out like fingers, and there were only footprints going in circles. No footprints leading to or from the tent, like something had just appeared there, walked in circles, then disappeared. James looked back at his tent. The breathing had started again, slow, heavy. But the tent was empty. He could see inside. Nothing there, but still the breathing continued. James had to make a choice. Pack up and hike in the dark, or stay and face whatever this was. He chose to stay, but not in the tent, no way. He built a big fire and sat against a tree where he could watch the tent. For hours, nothing happened. Just that breathing from the empty tent. In and out, in and out. Then at 2 a.m, something changed. The tent started to glow. Green light. Sick, pale green light. Like those glow sticks kids play with, but wrong. The light pulsed with the breathing. Then James saw it. Inside the tent, a shape. A person lying in his sleeping bag. But the person was wrong. Too tall, too thin, too many joints in the arms and legs. The head was the wrong shape. Long and narrow. The thing sat up in the tent. Its head turned toward James. It knew he was watching. It raised one arm and waved. The arm bent in 4 places. Arms don't bend in 4 places. Then James heard a voice. Not with his ears. In his head. Like someone putting words directly in his brain. Thank you for the shelter. I have been walking for so long. So tired, so cold. I needed to rest. To remember what it was like to be warm. To be inside something. To exist in your world. The thing lay back down. The green light faded. The breathing stopped. James sat against that tree until the sun came up. He didn't sleep. Didn't move. Just watched. When it was fully light, he went to the tent. It was empty. Normal. Except for the smell and a stain on his sleeping bag. The stain was the shape of a person. But wrong. Arms too long. Too many joints. And the stain was cold. Ice cold. And it was moving. Still moving. Like it was alive. James left the tent there. He couldn't touch it again. He packed everything else and ran. Not walked. Ran. At the parking area, he told a ranger about the abandoned tent. The ranger looked tired. Orange tent? Mile marker 47? Yes, how did you know? The ranger pulled out a map. It had red X marks all over it. Every X is an abandoned tent. Same story. Something in the tent. Something wrong. People leave the tent and never come back for it. What is it? James asked. The ranger looked around to make sure nobody was listening. You ever hear about thin places? Places where our world touches other worlds? We got them in these mountains. Sometimes things come through. Lost things. Things that don't belong here. They're trying to find their way home, but they don't understand our world. So they copy what we do, sleep in our tents, walk our trails, try to be like us. Why? James asked. Because they want to stay. They want to be here, in our world, but they can't. Not in their real form. So they practice. They learn. They get better at looking like us, acting like us. And when they get good enough... The ranger stopped talking. What? James asked. When they get good enough, what? They replace us. They take our place, and we go to their world. We become the lost things walking between worlds. James never went camping again. But sometimes he thinks about his tent. Is it still there? Is something sleeping in it right now? Learning how to be human? And sometimes, late at night, he hears that voice in his head. Thank you for the shelter. But now it sounds different. More human, more real. Like it's getting better at being one of us. James is scared that one day he'll wake up and see himself standing by his bed. A perfect copy, but with arms that bend in too many places. And the copy will smile and say, "My turn to be James now. Your turn to walk between worlds." And James will become the thing in someone else's tent, forever walking, forever lost, forever trying to remember what it was like to be human. The ending that will stay with you forever. These 5 stories are all true. Every word, every scary moment. The people who live through these things will never be the same. They've seen things that shouldn't exist. They've touched things that shouldn't be real. But here's what should really scare you. These aren't special people. They're normal people. Like you, like me. They just wanted to go camping. They just wanted to enjoy nature. But nature had other plans. Right now, while you're listening to this, someone is in a tent somewhere. They hear something outside. They think it's just an animal, but it's not. It's something else. Something waiting. Something hungry. Right now, someone is hiking alone. They think they're safe. They have a map. They have a phone. They have bear spray. But none of that matters when you meet something that doesn't follow our rules. Right now, someone is being watched. They don't know it yet, but something has picked them. Something is following them. Something is waiting for the right time. Every year, hundreds of people disappear in forests and mountains. Some are found. Some are never found. And some are found but can't explain what happened to them. They just stare at nothing and whisper about things that can't be real. The woods are old. Older than humans. Older than anything we know. There are places in the deep forest where our world is weak, where other things can come through, where the rules are different. So next time you go camping, remember these stories. When you hear something outside your tent, remember Mark and the thing that knew his name. When you find an abandoned campground, remember Sarah and the floating people. When something grabs your hand, remember Marcus and the invisible child. When you feel watched, remember Rebecca and Anna. When your tent feels wrong, remember James. And ask yourself, is that really just the wind? Or is it something else? Because here's the truth. We don't own the forest. We're just visitors. And sometimes, the things that really own it decide they want to play with us, or keep us, or replace us. So be careful out there. Trust your feelings. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Don't ignore that voice in your head that says run. It might be the only thing that saves you. And remember, every story I told you really happened, which means it could happen again. It could happen to you. Sweet dreams. And happy camping, if you dare.